All right, so to repeat for the recording, the question was, what do you do when you're Roadhog trying to go for the squishies and there's a tank in the way, right? Specifically with the barrier. Well, firstly, let's talk about some basics of what you can do, and then we'll talk about probably the easiest method. But firstly, basics. If you're trying to get around the tank, you can. So I mean, like let's say this is tank. You can break the shield, right? That's one of your options. You can just break the shield to get through them, which sometimes is an easier option than others. If the shield is low already, this could be an option. If the shield doesn't
Okay.
have much health, then this could be an option. But if the shield's like full health and it's like a Reinhardt, right, then might not be worth just sitting there melting it down because that'll take up all your time. Um,
Yeah.
Now you also have the option to get people who are nowhere near the shield. So like if the shield's right here and somebody's over here, then go for somebody over there, right? So that's an option to go for people who are around the shield, to the left, to the right of the shield. You can move to the left or the right to try to get around the shield as an option. So if the shield's like right here, I can move this way to get something right here. If there is a shield in the way, you could theoretically go above the shield, or more rarely below the shield, but you could go above the shield, right? If you get like a little bit of a high ground, or something like that, you can go
Okay.
above the shield. Um, you could wait till the right, till the shield's dead to use hook. Those realistically like are a lot of your basic options is get around it somehow or go through it somehow. Okay? Now, that's still difficult to do, right? Don't get me wrong. It's doable, right? You can do all of those things to get value, but it's still difficult. Uh, if the enemy team's sitting right here and you're standing right here, and you're trying to go through, well, you're just gonna have to go through the tank. You
Yeah.
could go this way, right? But then that just puts you like kind of out in the open, and it's just gonna be really hard to get around the tank,
Yeah.
because of how they're positioned. And this is what you call a main angle. Really easy way to avoid everything we just talked about is just to do this, because now you've just immediately bypassed the tank, gotten straight to their back line. You can throw a hook, bam, bam, and then you're out. This is called an off angle. It's just a bit different from the main angle. It's usually very fast. It's very safe, and which means that you can just go quickly and get out quickly. And that's what an off angle is. So another example: enemy team, your team, main angle. Okay, if you're just trying to shoot through here, you're just shooting into the tank. But we could just take a couple of seconds to come and take the high ground. And now look at this. Their tank basically can't do anything to stop you from just hooking their back line, because we can just go like this, hook their back line, bam, bam, and we hopefully get a pick or two out of it. Because high grounds, for the most part, act as off angles if you're above them. If they're like all the way over there, then not as much, because they can still kind of shield you depending what angle you're at. So being above them though means that you can usually easily hook around them to get a pick. Okay, so off angles, don't go on. Be careful about going on flanks though. Flanks are not the same as off angles. So quick and safe, describe off angles. Flanks would be, so if this same example, enemy team, your team, a flank would be if we went around and 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 around, and we went like this. So you just want to be careful about doing those. It's not never ever, but flanks are longer and more dangerous typically.
Okay.
You want usually quick. I at least would never do a flank like in the middle of a fight. Like if a fight is happening, then if you did that length of time, then you're just gonna lose the fight while you're flanking. Um, maybe at the very beginning of a fight, right, or before the fight has begun, you can do it in between fights. Um, and then yeah, you just gotta be very very careful about doing that kind of thing as Roadhog. Though it's you can do more of that if you're on like Wrecking Ball, or if you're on like Tracer, Genji, or something like that, or Tracer Soldier, characters with high mobility and survivability. Roadhog just doesn't have the mobility part. Okay, all that makes sense. Any questions on any of that?
I'm okay. Sometimes the tank is in the um what do I say? Through the tunnel? Not
Off
not the
angle,
tunnel.
main angle,
Meaning,
like
sorry. Yeah, can't
choke
hear me.
point.
Yes. Sometimes they're in the choke point, and
Hmm.
if they're just holding their shield up, there's not much I can do.
Yeah. So I mean, if the tank is in the choke, then you have like really two options. Either see if there is another way to get past the choke. Like if this is a choke point, then we have this way and this way. So is there another way to get through that's not the choke? Right. That's one option. Two, if you have to go through the choke, you could either theoretically spam them, depending on what team comp your team is running. If you're running a team composition that's is like a spam team composition with lots of long range characters and high damage output, then you could just try to spam down the shield and then push. Or if you're running more of a brawly team composition or a divey, where your team's trying to get in closer to them, then just try to push through the choke point using as much cover as possible and as fast as possible, and just try to break through. So maybe you could do like a breakthrough hook where you just like the Reinhardt's here or something like that. You're punching, okay, and then all of a sudden you're bursting out. You're going for a hook, getting a kill, and maybe back up off of there or something like that.
Okay.
Different ideas on how to get through it. Once again,
Okay.
any questions on that?
No, I'm okay.
That is definitely a more difficult situation than just taking an off angle. Okay. Cool.
Yep, I'm okay.
All right. I'll just be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about then. Once we load in here.
Ready for battle.
What was your ending name again? Is this you?
Ready for battle.
F11?
No, it's Fable. It's I think I'm in
Not
team
loaded in
one.
yet.
Yeah, probably.
There we go. Okay.
Ah,
I don't get caught.
Hey, you notice the Roadhog. You're trying to avoid him. That's good.
The objective is now.
Okay, so far we haven't really done much yet, right? Like we're just
yeah.
kind of looking around. So this kind of gets to like actions per minute, right? The first time we're like really shooting at anything is like 30 seconds into the fight, right? Or something like that. So
Yeah.
gotta be making sure that you're just like trying to do more things with your time. Now that you have to be very careful that you're not, that doesn't mean that you're just like sprinting in and into the middle of their team and dying. You don't want to walk into the Roadhog hook, but um, like pursue, like instead of just kind of looking around, going and like chasing after something, right? Or trying to contest point, right? Like we kind of gave him point for free. So contesting points an option, trying to hook the Roadhog off the map is an option. You could have gone down that right side to duel the McCree. You could have pursued to the counter and tried to get the Reaper. But instead we just kind of like sat there, right? Which just means that we get the worst of all worlds where we just aren't doing anything, right?
Okay.
And that's just this concept of actions per minute. Uh, which is just how much are you doing. A bronze player is going to come into a fight and they're going to go like shoot, and then they're just going to like wander around for a minute. Shoot. Oh, look at the scenery over here. Shoot. Right? It's just like there's just lots of gaps in between. But a GM player with that not being perfect, but they're at least looking to optimize every second of their gameplay, where they're constantly trying to do something, right? And that is just like a difference that you can see in the gameplay. No, unfortunate. Oh, what a crazy backwards hook. What the heck? You like hooked him. You did a 360 and got to hook him to this side. That's pretty crazy.
Thanks.
Now you just didn't have teammates with you, which is unfortunate. Nice hook on the Roadhog. And that time he did have teammates, which is why he died. So maybe before, if you noticed that you didn't have teammates, you could have tried to hook a different character that could have died easier. Since there were like a few there, it would have been harder, but you didn't have teammates the first time. And you're not usually going to be able to solo a Roadhog.
Okay.
Hook goes into the wall. We kind of flicked it there, so you can see if you're going like kind of slow-mo. It's a little jittery here. So you are like on top of the McCree, and then you just like flick to the right, and it goes into the wall. So we can talk a bit on flicking for a second. Firstly, as a question, just because it's always good to check, especially when people like have flicking problems, is what's your sensitivity and DPI at? Did I ask that last time?
Yeah. Sensitivity is 4 and DPI is 800.
Okay, I think I did ask that last time then. Okay, did we talk about flicking then last time?
Yeah, not flicking.
Yeah, okay, then we did talk about it. Okay, cool. So then we don't need to rehash it then. So just that concept, and just being a bit more, trying to be a bit more stable instead of just like going off to the right. And if you're finding it hard to maneuver, you could even raise the sensitivity a hair. But that's if you're comfortable with where it's at, then that's all just intentional movement that you got to be careful about. Right, if McCree's just standing in this one area that he can't really run away from, then you just hook down a straight line.
Yeah.
Okay. Wasting the cooldown by just tossing it right where it was before. Nice hook though. Nice hook dodge. I would try to do that kind of thing because you're twice now you've given up point for free,
Yeah.
and then that's just giving them so much tick percentage in comparison to you. Now the thing you don't want to do is just go into Roadhog and feed by letting him hook you into well, right? That's something you don't want to do, right? And I'm assuming, is that why you're playing passive, because you don't want to get hooked into well?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So, two things that could help with this, or maybe even three things. One is like different options that you could take. One is be more aggressive when you have control of points to be the one positioning around the well, because whoever's positioned around the well has the advantage between you and their Roadhog. If
Yes.
you're positioning around the well, then their Roadhog can't just walk up and take well control, because then if he does, you hook him into the well, right?
Yeah.
But instead, we're just playing off of the well, which means that their Roadhog for free gets to just walk in and take well control, right? So when you don't hold that positional advantage, it just gives it to them for free. So it's kind of like the same deal with like high grounds. High grounds are good for you and your team, and if you don't take it, then you just give it to them for free. But if you do
Yeah.
take it, then you can rip that advantage away from them.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I would recommend. Second thing is if you're trying to retake it, things that you could look to do is wait till you see him use hook on somebody else, or you could try to bait hook like you just did, like you just baited hook, and that was a perfect idea. You put a shot out and then you backed up immediately, and he went for the hook, and now you can push out because he's not going to have that hook again for
Yeah.
6 seconds, right? He's not going to have it. So you
Yeah.
can push forwards, try to hook him off. Oh, we didn't go for the hook, right? Pretty easily, could, especially with the speed, could have gotten forward, so hook him off there. But now we're even actually pushing out of our hook range for some reason. We're like wrapping around the long way. So that's something to keep your eye out for. Now, so and then a third option could have been like maybe trying to take a flank angle that like on the right hand side that wouldn't have really put you near the well. Like if you, for example, like came out this right side, he can't really hook you as easy, right? Or something like that. And like once again, get closer and hook something while still playing safe enough to not get hooked off the map. Things like that, right? Different options. Yeah, playing a little far out of your hook range. Also, playing on that far side means that you're giving Roadhog free reign to like go on that flank and try to hook one of your backline.
Yeah.
So, oh, you weren't using healing. Healing, using take a breather there definitely keeps you alive. Oh, easy, right? Just wait for her abilities to go down, right? You're not gonna be able to hook Inarissa while she's using Javelin Spin. You're not gonna be able to hook her while she's gold. So if you clearly see her using Javelin Spin, pause on the hook. I think you're actually trying to
Yeah.
hook past her. You're trying to hook past her there, but you just weren't paying attention to the fact that she was just like moving right in front of them. It's like we try to go past it, but she's just standing right there, right? So part of awareness, paying attention to your surroundings.
Yeah.
We're nanoed. Notice that you have a habit. I've noticed this frequently, where you could be shooting people, but you reload on like 4 or 5 ammo out of 6, right? If you
Yeah.
have the ability to shoot people and you have ammo, then don't worry about reloading. You only ever want to reload if you need to reload and there's a lull in the fight, right? Like if there's not a whole lot going on, or you duck around the corner, right? Like a lull in the fight would be like, oh, I'm low and need healing. I'm gonna back up for a second and I'm gonna reload while I'm doing it, or I'm gonna go on a flank, so I'm just gonna reload while I turn the corner, or things like that, right? Or if there's an ultimate, I have to duck around the corner, let me reload, things like that. Whenever you're using cover, right, and backing up, but you don't want to reload when you could be shooting at things. Like here, we reload when you could be shooting at the McCree. You could even here you could interrupt your reload by hooking him so that you could kill him, right? That's an option
Yeah.
here. And then we're healing, and then we just don't do anything with the nano boost, right? Like we're not
Yeah.
playing aggressive with it.
Yeah.
They didn't even really have too much to, they don't have the Roadhog anymore, so they couldn't have even really contested you. You could have even pushed it if you wanted to get value sooner. You could have even pushed it on this right hand side rather than pushing in through the left. We just kind of run around with it instead of actually pushing to use it. Oh, you're running away from her when she's 1 HP, right? So awareness. Pay attention to her health bar. Watch her health bar here, right? She's not by any teammates. You can see that she doesn't have any team support. And while you're running away here, look at the health that she's at, right?
Yeah.
There's a very easy, either just run in her face and shoot her again or hook her or something like that, and then she can die very easily. But we're running away instead.
Yeah.
Okay. Good job going for the tracer shot. I haven't seen that too much, so just a reminder to be going for the shot before you hook. You go for it, but we just miss it because we're aiming. The problem here is that we're not leading the hook. So leading the hook is you see that someone's moving to the right. Hook is a projectile. You have to aim it a little bit to the right of them. Okay.
Okay.
But here you aim it on top of the Reaper, or actually, here we aim it like a little bit to the left. We aim it to the left of him
Yeah.
instead of to the right of him, and then he moves to the right, and it's just a clear dodge, right? So you gotta aim it where they're moving, right?
Yeah.
And watch where they're moving, or aim it on top of them, right? Either or,
Oh.
if they're not moving. Okay. Hook accuracy is definitely gonna be something that needs to
Yeah.
be worked on because we did miss, like we probably landed like a third of them this game. Once again, notice how you were on them and you just flick off of them last second.
Yeah.
Scaling up.
Nice. Okay, so there. Flicking, reminder, flicking is needed when a character, when flicking is needed when flicking is needed, right? So
Yeah.
when somebody is moving quickly, when somebody is not where your crosshair's aimed at, if somebody's behind you, right? All different cases where you can flick to try to catch up to them. Here, flicking was needed, but I wonder if it was intentional or not. Because he did roll. He rolled, and I don't even think, because we did the hook before he rolled. So, and look at where that hook was going. So I don't even think that was intentional or not. But we flicked where he was rolling because we were aiming straight on him, and then we do a sharp flick to the left, and then we're back on him. Do you see that? How we can even like 0.5 that. Yeah, let's see if we can slow it down. Where do I slow that down like that? Nope, that's not it. Free cam options. Oh no, wait, it's down here on the bottom left. Okay, cool. So we can go down to like a 0.5. Okay, so you're on him. You do a sharp flip to the left, and then you're on him. Oh, actually, oh, he rolled afterwards. Never mind. He rolled after you hooked him. Sorry, I didn't even see that right. Okay, so actually it wasn't that as sharp of what it looked like originally. So that was better than what I thought it was. Nice hook. And good job utilizing the pig pen. Flicking him into it. You're really utilizing that flicking tech.
Gentle rain.
Good job playing cover while they're trying to push. That's good. Okay, so we're trying to, I think, cook the Orisa there, but we grab Ana anyways, which is fine, right? Like hooking into like a crowd of people is a good option, and you still get the Ana, so that's good. We hook the Ana in. They have just a lot of pressure on us right now, which is the problem. And then we get booped away from the melee, which doesn't help. So honestly, it's well played. They just kind of stopped you from doing anything with it. Ooh. Maybe could try to have hooked her off the map potentially if you walk to that right hand side. Nice, good ult. Boop 'em. Nice, great ultimate. Good job, like thinking about using the map.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, just barely. This time you were. You didn't flick. Maybe hair, but I think you're trying to aim ahead of where they're moving. It was just too far ahead. Remember that hook's a pretty fast projectile. Like it's not a slow projectile; it's a fast projectile. So you can't aim far ahead of where they're moving unless you expect them to use a movement ability. But if they're just kind of walking, you got to aim a little bit ahead of where they're moving, right? Not so like it's the difference between aiming like here on the slightly left, because if you aim on the slightly left or if you aim on top of them, then they might move out of it. Instead, you want to aim slightly right, because that way you're going to where they're moving, kind of the path that they're moving on. So just a bit too much of a lead.
Yeah.
Okay. Note that habit. Pigpen's down. You've done that probably like 4 times or 5 times so far this game, right? Pigpen's down. You throw it down to the exact same spot, right? And then that's just wasting. It's just putting on cooldown, right? So that's just wasting the ability, because now if somebody breaks it or if you use it, you won't be able to replace it again for another 12 seconds. Oh, darn it, she. Little sharp of a flick, but you were aimed in the right direction. She just turned around completely. So, we're shooting. Here, I would not be opposed if you tried pushing a hair into them here. Now we have talked before. I mean, like about maybe you're saying here because like cover usage. I think that you'd be fine to push because the Orissa's not looking at you. They're not looking at you. If you push, you'll be more accurate and deal more damage. And there are Reapers on them, and you're getting healed, so you have the advantage right now in this fight. And if you push and get a quick pick or two on their supports, then you just win, right? If you get and it just puts you a big advantage. So you could playing passive here isn't the end of the world, because you can still land a hook from here. It's just gonna be more difficult than if you just got a lot closer. Yeah, she moves out of the way. We do damage. We still get the picks, so that's good. We still get them. Okay, cool. We still kill them. It still works out, but you could have also pushed a little bit closer. If they survived, getting closer might have been the thing to kill. Like in here, you can play more aggressive because you're winning this. Yep, there you go. There you go. Got him in the dash. Nice hook. Just watching where she's moving. Wait till she's out of blinks. Good job.
Thanks.
Okay, good job hooking him away from your team. Might be pushing point too soon. Yeah, probably pushing point too soon here. Because note how the whole fight's happening this way. So
Yeah.
pushing point, I think, could just result in your team losing the fight, and you're not gonna have anybody to hook off the map over here because nobody's
Yeah.
over here. And you could create point pressure, but I have a feeling you could, even if you cap point, you could end up just losing the fight regardless because their team lost their tank on the main fight, right? So let's watch how it
Mm.
plays out. But oh, we go back. Okay, so you realize this is just maybe you got to realize that a bit sooner, right? The lack of, if you don't go like that, then that gives you a massive advantage. Oh,
Yeah.
how did we miss the shot here? Does he step in the way? Ooh, he steps in the way there. But also you turn your attention to him, so make sure you're keeping your attention on Tracer.
Okay.
Yeah. Could we have pressed that advantage more?
Yeah.
That's a hard one because you don't necessarily kill something there. I think it's fine to rotate because you don't necessarily kill anything there, and then rotating helps positionally. So I think it's a good choice. I'd start maybe stepping on point to create point pressure
Okay.
to get them to come to you, because now the fight isn't isolated to that corner. Your team's coming with you. Stepping on point, you start capping, and that makes them to come to you, right? So that just gives you that advantage. Oof. If we had been there a bit sooner, we probably could have hooked Maga off, but we were delayed in it, and then that just kind of gives them point control. Don't be so fixated on getting the environmental kill that you give up kills that are in your face. So like here, you pretty easily could go for the hook on like the McCree or the Juno and just kill him normally, potentially with the Kiriko's help. But taking this long to get over to the edge, they just get out of range and run away, right? So don't be too fixated on the environmental kill. The environmental kill's good, but it's also a little bit niche sometimes, right? Meaning that like you're not always gonna get value out of it. Especially like on well, it's a bit easier. On this map, if it's happening around point, it's a bit easier. But if the fight's not happening on point, it might not happen. So don't try to force it to happen. And if you have the opportunity to land another hook, then go for the other hook and just try to kill him normally, right? Because it feels like you're just constantly playing around on this spot and just hoping that they come to you, but they're just being smart and not coming to you. Unfortunate. Little too sharp on the right there. If you put it right on that, like right on that doorway, then you get one of them. But a little too sharp, maybe rushing it too much. So let's talk about like what being intentional looks like. So being intentional, I talk about this with like Ana's and Ana nades. Okay. Do you remember last time? This is kind of along the same idea. Do you remember last time what we talked about in terms of how do you improve? How do you get better at the game? Or yeah, how do you apply the things that we've been talking about? You remember what we said at all?
Double kill.
No, is it not ringing a bell? Also, just checking to make sure you're still with me here because I can't hear your audio.
Oh, I think paying attention to my surroundings.
Yep. So that's one of the ways that you can improve, that you can get better, right? So that's awareness. That is a category of things that you can improve on. But for example, how would you go about improving on your awareness if you like? What's the method, or really anything? And if I didn't say this last week, then I apologize. I usually try to go over it in the first session. Okay, so let me go into it, and let me know if I'm just repeating everything. But it's probably good to repeat it if you don't remember it. Okay, you're going to improve at this stuff by making sure that while you're playing, you're actively focusing on the thing that you're trying to work on. Not just coming in and autopiloting, not just leaving this session and then going into a game and just going, I'm a better player now that I got coaching. But you gotta come into your games, and you gotta pay attention and focus on the thing you're working on. So what that's gonna look like is, if you're trying to work on your abilities, thinking abilities, don't flick hook, don't replace Pigpen, things like that, right? Like where you're giving yourself a constant reminder to think about your abilities, and when you're constantly thinking about your abilities, they're gonna be a bit better. And then when you do that for long enough, it forms as a habit, and then when it forms as a habit, then it's just something you don't need to work on anymore, just comes naturally, and then you've improved. And then from there, you move on to the next thing to work on, and that's your improvement cycle. And then just try not to work on everything all at once, because that gets overwhelming, right? So pick out a category of things, or 1 to 3 smaller things within a category. So what that could look like with your hook here, being extra intentional and aware of it, could be instead of just going for sharp hooks. So sometimes maybe you do this, where you're just like, okay, shoot, and then we're hooking, right? And we're just like, it's rushed. But what you can do, and then other times it seems like you're intentionally waiting for it and watching for it, right? Like there are times where you're just sitting on the edge, and you're like, come here, right? And you're just like waiting for it. But then other times, maybe it's just a bit rushed with hook, when you could be like thinking like, okay, I'm trying to get around the barrier. I'm shooting. I'm waiting on the hook. I'm trying to find the angle. Line it up. Okay, we're straight on. Let's go. Right? Like other times you can take the time to do that. Sometimes maybe you need to rush it because they're moving quickly and you gotta like go for those flicks. But when you got the time, maybe just put some extra thought and attention to it and think it through. Right? Okay, I'm going up on the high ground. I'm gonna be looking for a hook. I gotta make sure I get around their tank. Okay, I'm around their tank. I see the squishy over on the right here. Lining it up. Going for it.
Okay. Yeah.
Just some thoughts, the ways that you can do this.
Okay.
Let's see. Along that same strand, since this is session 2, like just some more improvement ideas for you, right? How are you gonna look to get from silver, up to, whatever rank you're trying to get to? Because your intention, remind me of your goal. Is it to like climb? Are you trying to get better and rank up? Is that on there for the list, or are you just trying to have fun?
Well, getting better is good. I would like to get better.
Okay, cool. So, getting better, right? So if you're trying to get better, which usually getting better just comes with the natural, you're probably going to rank up as you get better. If you're trying to get better, you're going to do that. Wait, sorry, one second. I lost what I was going for there. I was talking about, yeah, okay, yep. You're going to be able to do that through focusing on what you can do better, right? And this is the self-improvement strategy, the way that you self-improve. It's the method to doing that. This is really, if you've been paying attention, this is how I do my coaching with people. But I do this from a perspective of having coached for like 1,000 hours, and having played the game for thousands of hours, and having played at a really high level. So I'm doing this just kind of on a different level, but you can still do this for yourself. This is how I did it for myself when I started the game in silver, when I first started playing, and this is how I looked at my own gameplay and self-improved. And I did that. You could do this in a replay, but you can also just do this while you play. if you ever decided to like move on from me, right? Like, obviously it'd be great if you just kept getting sessions, but hopefully from like you won't be like, at least my hope usually is that people aren't getting coaching with me, like 2 years down the line, because at that point I should hopefully have taught them enough skills to be able to coach themselves, essentially, right? They'll have gotten good enough at it to where they won't need me anymore, because they can kind of do it on their own, unless they just need one once in a while for like an outsider's perspective, right? That's not bad at all. So how do you do it? Make sure you're intentionally watching for your mistakes, but you can't just watch for mistakes. You got to look for the issue within the mistake. Then you look for the solution to the issue within the mistake. And then after you've found the solution, you need to apply it, right? So let's talk about what a few of those look like. So the mistake, let's say for example, there's a lot of mistakes, but an easy one is deaths. Why did you die? But other mistakes could be things like misusing abilities, so you use it doing the pig pen thingy, or you're mechanically missing, so you're missing your shots, or you're missing your hook, or you are misusing your ability, or sorry, your ultimate, or you're just not getting a kill where you could have gotten a kill, or letting a teammate die where you could have saved them, things like that. But let's start with the easy one, deaths. If I just told you, if I came into this coaching session and said, you're dying too much, would that be very helpful?
Not much.
Probably not very helpful. Maybe like a smidge if you didn't know it, but usually that's also pretty obvious, right? It's pretty obvious that you're dying a lot, right? Sometimes I do need to tell people that, like, you gotta stop dying because you're dying too much. But then I go further. I go beyond that. I say the why and the how and all that. So if you just leave it at the oh, I died, that's bad, that's not very helpful. You need to take it a step further and ask, why did you die? Right? And that's the issue within the mistake. Okay, so what are some common reasons why people die?
I think they go too far.
Mhm.
From
Overextending.
corner.
Yep.
Also, using their abilities too fast.
Yes, or like, so just general misuse of abilities, right? So you could use it when it's not needed, you could use it too early, you could not use it at all, or miss it. Yep.
Maybe being away too far from your teammates.
Yep, so that's more like just overextending, or just being out of position. Being out of position, big one would be not using cover, right? Being out in the open, or not being on high ground, right? So positioning is another one.
Okay.
Finally, like you could not be aware of your surroundings, right? So someone sneaks up behind you and kills you, and you're just not paying attention to them. Or you also have like poor movement if you're like standing still or walking in straight lines. And there's like, you can lose duels, things like that, right? So you pay attention to when you died, right? When you died, you have a bunch of time while you're dead, so maybe you can just think about this every time you die, right? Just be in the habit of thinking about, why did I die? And then while you're playing, and be like, okay, I died because I was out in the open, right? And then going, well, what's the solution to that? Because if you just stop with that, then it's still not very helpful, because now you're not going to be able to apply it yet. The solution usually is pretty simple. It's just the opposite of what you got wrong. So if you died because you were out in the open, well, maybe you got to use cover. If you died because you weren't on high ground, maybe you should have taken high ground. If you died because you weren't paying attention, maybe you should have paid attention, right? It's as simple as that a lot of the time. Not all the time, but a lot of the time it's that simple. And then it becomes less simple when it comes to things like, to like your question earlier of like, how I missed my mistake was I'm missing value on my hooks. How do I get around the tank? That's a bit more complicated, but also pretty self-explanatory to say, well, you get around the tank by getting around the tank. Right? but I just fleshed it out and explained that more. Okay?
Yeah.
And so, and then finally, you look to apply it. Right? You find the solution, look to apply the solution in the way that we just talked about. Right? So that's your general, that's your improvement. And look for the mistakes that pop up frequently. Look for the mistakes that are bigger, right? Like if it's a really tiny thing, then it's not that important to work on. If it's bigger mistakes, that's important. But if you're only making them once in a while, then it's not as important as that medium mistake that you're making a lot. Right? Like if you're doing, like if you did the, like if you misuse your ultimate, that's a big mistake. But if you do that like 1 out of like 5 ults, it's not as bad as like chucking your pig pen like on the regular, right? So think additional things to be thinking about. All that makes sense. Any questions on any of that?
Well, no, it's I'm okay.
Cool. I'm noticing that you're surviving. You have very good survivability in this game. You've only died a few times. I think we can actually check real quick how many times you died in this whole game.
Ready for battle.
Let's see if I can find it. Bookmarks. You are Fable. Round 1, round 2, round 3. We can do deaths. And you only died in this entire game 4 times. Right? And you went the big middle chunk without dying. So that's like 13 minutes with 4 deaths. That's pretty darn good. That's a really good death rate to have, right? So look to keep that. That's a strength of yours. But if you are, maybe we're seeing a problem, is that you of course are going to die less if you're like sitting in spawn. But if you're sitting in spawn and not dying, you're also not doing anything. So you gotta find that balance of doing things while also not dying. But if you're just kind of sitting around and surviving, then you're not getting enough value. So then you could be losing fights while still staying alive through them, right?
Yeah.
That's maybe something to be wary of if you like are just easily surviving a fight. Like if it's easy to survive, then you might be doing it mildly wrong. Surviving should be like a difficult thing where like you are struggling to make it out, but you do it, you play more aggressive. You play more aggressive and you push and you take space and get value while using cover, while using high grounds, while paying attention to your team and their team, and using your abilities well, right? Like all those things keep you alive while you're also getting value. So you want to find that balance. Right now, you're probably not. You probably could be pushing a bit more in certain scenarios. Could be getting a bit more value in certain scenarios where you're not. Where you're just kind of sitting around, and that includes the times where you kind of just sat around not doing anything, and also sitting around waiting for them to push into your hook, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we're past this. Okay. So we're maybe somewhere around here. Okay. You kind of take your crosshair off of them for some reason here. Right, like you could. Oh, because you don't have your hook anyways. But like you're just kind of staring at the floor over on the right hand side for some reason. Keep your crosshair on them, so when you come out of it, you can just shoot at them again. Oh, we
Okay.
go. Oh, we're ahead of this still. We still past this? I think we're still past this. Maybe. Yeah. Okay, we're past this. Trying to find where we were. Oh, finally. Whew, got it. Just took us like the entire time. Oh, oopsies. Skip past it on accident. I think I meant to pause it. Okay, so a little bit of awareness to no tracers blinking in. And we just like send it past her here, so just being intentional, like aiming to the left a little bit more. Okay. Trying to play on this right side for the hook. Okay. So if you're only gonna do like one shot on him, it's probably not worth waking the Maga. You just like kind of tickle him a little bit. So it's probably just worth letting him sleep. You potentially could have even like run far enough to the left while he was sleeping to hook him off potentially.
Yeah.
Let's see. We're doing the, like, I'm going to reload one bullet again while there's a tracer right in front of you and there's more people to shoot at on the right. We put on Pigpen. We just barely missed the hook. He's just pretty far away, so it's going to be hard. Okay. So it was good to... There's also Juno like right next to you that we were not shooting at as well. Like Juno's like right in front of you. And I don't know if we're noticing her. Like we turn around to shoot at the tracer when Juno's like right there in your face. We're like right here. And Kiriko also like right here. So being aware, paying attention, not ignoring. Don't turn around for the tracer if you have squishies you could just easily hook on the front line here.
Yeah.
And then you you back away from them. That just lets them stay alive easier. Nice hook. Melee. Push in, get close. Go. Oh, we didn't melee. Probably could have killed her if we meleeed. Okay, and then fight's lost. So we just didn't clean it up fast enough. We actually had the advantage there. We just weren't going, right? So want to make sure that you're going when you're winning. If you're winning the fight, go, push in them. Clean up faster, because if you clean up faster, then they don't have the chance to come back and flip it around, right? You had both the squishies on point, and we took too long to kill them.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened there? Did someone boop him? Like, oh, I guess your brig must have booped him. Yep, the brig whip shot at him. That's unfortunate. Oh, look! Watch your crosshairs aimed. I'm like looking at the ground here. Right, that's part of crosshair placement. Right, make sure that you're aimed up at the body for hooks, but aim up even higher for your shots. Aim at head level for your shots. We can talk more about that when we have more time on a later date.
Okay.
Flick it over to the right a little bit. Okay. Skip along. I think we gotta get to the wrap-up review. Okay, so main points of the session. Ability usage, watch the double pig pens, right? Don't replace it on top of itself. That just kind of wastes your ability. Hook, be intentional with it. Don't look to just, don't rush it. Also, don't spend like a year waiting on the edge for them to come over to you.
Okay.
Make sure to add your tracer shot in before your hook. Make sure to lead it, but only slightly, not too much. Be careful about flicking it too hard, because like sometimes we'll just be aiming here on a target who's just standing there, and then we go like that, right? So just be careful about flicking it. Potentially think about even getting a little bit closer some of the times, right? Like it's not bad to be at these ranges. Like these ranges sometimes are good. Sometimes it's good to be at these ranges, but like if you can push closer, it's gonna be easier to land that hook, right? So like if you have the easy opportunity, so if it's a duel, if it's a one-on-one, if it's just their like supports, if you're winning the fight, if you have cover still, pushing closer can be beneficial. So like getting up to here is gonna be beneficial, and playing at this range is gonna be better than playing at that range, unless you're trying to keep your distance because they're on like a close range brawl comp, right? That'd be like the exception. Right? Roadhog's like a mix between like spammy brawl, which means he's flexible, right? Like you're range and you're also close, right? Like you at a range you can do this and do pretty good damage, but up in close range you can also do pretty good damage, right?
Yeah.
But you're also going to be less effective than like a Junker Queen or a Reinhardt or a or like at a close range, right? So you gotta find the when do I push, when do I back, when do I play at what range, right? Sorry, that was like completely separate from ability usage. Overall ability usage, like a medium, maybe a lower end of a medium priority for you to work on. Ult usage, pretty good. Not too many issues with your ult usage. I think for the most part, you're pretty good. I didn't really have too many comments on it. It's just kind of unfortunate once or twice, and I actually used it really well the other time. So low priority, not a big deal. And then your mechanics, you didn't go too much into it, but make sure you're not aiming down here. Aim up a head level for those headshots.
Okay.
And don't aim at the floor. Target priority, keep up target priority, but most of that now, like I think you were doing better with it during that game than you have before. And you can focus more on the tank if you can just hook them off the map, right? But just be careful that you're not hyper focusing in on the tank, stuff like that. Overall, that's like an, probably lower than abilities. So maybe let's say abilities is a medium, and that's lower end than medium.
Okay.
And then get to positioning, use cover, take high grounds, make sure that you are taking those off angles and things like that, right?
Okay.
Lots of different things that we can work on there. Play around the well. Don't stand like off on like. Don't run too far away from the fight. Don't go on the long flank in the middle of the fight. So be intentional with that.
Okay.
Overall, that was like probably a higher end of a medium. And then finally, awareness by addition to where's your team, where's their team, watch health bars. That was mainly it. There were just a lot of times where like you just wouldn't notice like enemy players like right next to you or in your face, right, or low HP. So specifically pay attention to enemy characters. Overall, that was like a medium, so to put that all in order, number 1 is positioning. Number 2 is ability usage, especially like Pigpen is pretty easy fix, right? Awareness is number 3. Number 4 is mechanics. Number 5 is ult usage. Don't really worry too much about ult usage. Okay. Any questions about anything?
Oh, I'm okay.
All right, cool. I'm